stories have been shown in the movie which have no connection with each other. But one thing is common in every story, that after 3 o'clock in the night, some souls start coming alive. Friends, the movie I am going to explain today is named 3 a.m. Mohit. In the beginning we see a man who is cutting the hair of a dead girl. Now after cutting the hair, that man goes away from here, but then suddenly the girl's eyes open. So after this the same change happens, and we are shown a witch shop, where we see two sisters, one of whom is named Mint, and the other is May. Their parents have gone out for some work, leaving their family show in the hands of their daughters. May is a very intelligent girl because she does the entire shop work alone. Actually, her sister, whose name is Mint, does not help her in any work, so there is a lot of quarrel between the two sisters. A woman comes to Arian's shop who sells very good quality hair to May, and goes away from there. After this, she takes that bag of hair to her shop. She takes it in and holds onto it, but then the bag unexpectedly starts moving. Now I don't pay much attention to that bag and get busy with my work. Major is making a wig from those hair when a scary hand moves towards her from behind and tries to catch her. Major also realizes this, so as soon as she looks back, that hand disappears, and then Myth comes to her and tells her that I have to go out for a party, and I will be late in coming back. So you keep the shutter of the shop open. After saying this, Mint leaves from there. Once she leaves, I start doing my work again. But she begins to feel sleepy, so she heads to the bathroom to wash her face. I notice her nose is bleeding, and she becomes very frightened. I use a towel to stop the bleeding. She turns on the tap to clean the blood that dripped from her eye into the sink, but the sink is completely blocked, causing the water to fill up. I put my hands inside the sink to clean her hall. She gives birth and notices a lot of hair emerging from within her. Now the lion's hole was clean, due to which all the water was drained out. But then I see that a scary hand starts coming out from inside that hole. I get very scared seeing this, and then Meki opens her eyes. Actually, whatever I have seen till now is a dream. After waking up, Meki starts hearing some sounds. So when she goes out and looks, she finds out that Mint and her friends are making a lot of noise. Mint brings all her friends up to the terrace for a party. Once Mint arrives, I shut the shop's shutter and head to sleep myself. However, we then notice that one of Mint's friends has picked up the record I had just made not too long ago. He starts having fun with the wick on his head, and his friends enjoy it too, but he doesn't, so he doesn't tell them to return it. The boy goes to put it down. It's 3 in the morning. His friends hear him shouting and rush down to see him. As we descend, we find that the boy has been killed, and that boy's neck is cut from his body and kept at the place from where he had picked up Vic. Seeing this, all these people get very scared and start running away from there. But as soon as they try to open the key of the shutter, the key breaks and remains inside it. So a girl goes inside to take a rod. As soon as these people break the shutter and go out, then the sound of that girl screaming is heard. So the rest of the friends go and look at her. Looking at that girl, it seemed as if she was being held by someone. Before he helps her, a scary hand emerges from her stomach, grabs her and tosses her around. Now, that girl tragically dies as a result of hitting the walls. Witnessing this, Mint and I swiftly decide to run away from this place. However, Mint's last remaining friend stays behind. As soon as that boy turns around, he is confronted by the sight of the girl's corpse standing right in front of him. This is the same girl whose wig his friend had picked up earlier. The terrifying sight frightens him so much that he stumbles backward, falling onto the sharp kilo in his panic, which leads to his death. With all of Minty's 3 friends now dead, Minto decides to go hide in a room. Mint starts calling them on her feet, but due to lack of network, her call was not getting connected. She goes outside, but when she looks inside from outside, she finds out that there is a ghost behind May, who has taken control of May. She tries to go inside by opening the door, but the door gets locked. On the other hand, the ghost completely takes control of May, due to which May starts getting strange visions. May starts breaking the lock of the door so that she can go inside to save May. But by the time May reaches, Ghost takes Mir to a thermal room where things are heated and melted, and the temperature of the room starts increasing on its own, and its temperature increases so much that the glass in the door starts getting tracked, and as soon as that glass breaks, it falls a minute away. After this, her parents also come, and they get very scared seeing Mir in such a condition. They start crying. They inquire about the ghost while she stands right in front of them, yet they are unable to see her. At this point, we learn that the glass shatters, causing the ghost to perish. Then, the ghost turns to face the other ghost, and her eyes have turned completely white. This indicates that the ghost remains within the other ghost. This marks the conclusion of the first story in this movie. Following this, our second story begins, introducing us to a boy named who is responsible for taking care of the dead bodies in the morgue. Proud gets called to a house where he is tasked with taking care of the deceased bodies of a couple. In this house, there is a tradition that requires the dead to be treated as guests for a whole week after their passing. This means that every day, a lot of delicious food is presented in front of the photograph of the deceased. Proud performs this duty daily. However, one day, while doing his usual work, he hears an unexpected sound coming from the room where those dead bodies are kept. Rod tells that there is a lizard on the coffin which goes inside the coffin after seeing him. So he opens the coffin, and for the first time he sees the dead body of a girl named Charlie. Charlie was very beautiful to look at, but her throat was slit, and there were many stitches on it. The lizard goes inside Cherry's clothes, so to remove the lizard, Todd starts putting a heart in Cherry's clothes, but at that time, Cherry's husband's coffin collides with it, which scares the Colt a lot. He shuts the coffin. When Kors is in his room, he discovers the couple's bag. Upon opening it, he finds both a camera and a CD inside. However, when he attempts to play the CD, it doesn't work. So, Dot begins examining the camera, which holds the couple's wedding photos. As he delves deeper, he stumbles upon some photographs that reveal Cherry was murdered by her husband Mike. Kors starts pondering how someone could do such a thing to his wife. Meanwhile, Mike notices something from the doorway. He hears a noise, so he decides to go check it out, and he notices a thread on the door. As he moves forward, following the thread, he spots Cherry standing there. Cherry begins to call the court towards her. However, Mike arrives and starts pulling Chet, insisting that he should go with him. Mike warns Chet to leave his house, or else the consequences will be extremely bad. Now Chet's eyes open, meaning that whatever Tutna will give him now is a dream. But then the city starts playing in front of Chet, in which he sees that Mike is tying Cherry's hands and legs and torturing her badly. Court does not like this at all, and then Court hears a sound from that couple's room, so he goes and checks, and he sees that Cherry's coffin is open, and her body is also not in its place. Krot believes that even after Mike's death, he continues to cause distress to his wife, so Krot decides to take Mike's coffin to a temple. At the temple, he ties the coffin with a sacred thread, ensuring that Mike can no longer trouble his wife. Following this, Krot opens Cherry's coffin and begins to adjust her clothes. As he does so, he finds himself increasingly drawn to Cherry, to the point where he loses control. Overcome by his emotions, he ends up doing things with her lifeless body that are completely inappropriate and wrong. After this, instead of keeping Tottery's body in the coffin, he keeps it on his bed and he sleeps with her. But then he hears some sounds from the temple, so he goes to check. And he finds out that the mic is not in his coffin, so when he comes back to his room, he sees that Cherry is also missing from there. Seeing this, the tone is very loud. He gets scared and thinks of running away from here. But then Cherry pulls him inside the bed and she attacks his leg with a broken glass, due to which his leg gets badly injured. He gets injured somehow. When Tonk comes out of the bike, he discovers Mike's lifeless body and becomes extremely frightened by the sight. However, he then experiences a vision where he realizes that the bike always kept Cherry restrained because she had a tendency to attempt suicide. Yet one day, he feels compassion for my Cherry and decides to release her hands and legs. But Cherry attacks Mai with a piece of glass which kills her, and she assumes herself to be a piece of glass, and it is 3 o'clock in the night. From now on, we see the name Cord inside Cherry's coffin. Here Cord tries hard to get out of Cherry's coffin, but Cherry is sitting on his coffin. So research Cherry did not want the Tot to touch her body. That is why she was repeatedly giving signals to him to stay away from her. But Dot has made a mistake by coming close to her. That is why she is taking revenge from him, and our second story ends with this scene. After this, our third and last story begins. Here we are shown a girl in the office who is chatting with someone online, and 2 employees start going home after finishing their work. But as soon as they reach the lift, they see someone's severed head, seeing which they get very scared. On the other hand, the girl who was checking someone in the office sees that all the computers in the office turn on by themselves. Seeing this, she gets very scared and runs away from the office, but then the boss of the office comes out from under the table who was joking with his employees, because he believed that his employees just pass their time on the pretext of overtime, so that they can earn money, but they do not do any work in return. And the two employees who were near the lift had understood this trick of their boss, so they also start scaring their boss, but their boss understands this trick of theirs, and now asks them to come out. On coming out, they tell their boss that we had forgotten our important things in the office itself, so we have come just to get that. Now their boss starts working on the computer properly, and the other boss, whose name is Karan, goes to get food for both of them. But then the fresh can kept in front of tea opens, seeing which he gets very scared. Then Karen also reaches there with food, and he asks TSA what happened to him. TSA tells that the fridge was shaking on its own, but Karen does not pay attention to him, and he puts the food in the fridge. After this, Karen leaves from there, but TSA notices that the fridge starts shaking again, and this time a witch comes out of it who tries to catch TSA. TSA gets very scared by this and runs towards Karan, but as soon as Karan turns back, his face also changes a lot. It had become frightening to see which Tip would faint, but here, we come to understand that Karan was merely joking with both of his employees. Unfortunately, it was too late, and Tip had not yet picked up the tea. When Karan checks on him, he discovers that Tip is dead. This causes the girl to become extremely frightened, and just as she attempts to touch the tea, it grabs hold of her, and suddenly comes to life. This means the three were teasing that girl. Karen goes to his office but then hears a scream. When they check, they discover Karen has hanged himself. They're all terrified. But later, they realize he was joking again. But his employees get very angry because of this, because now this joke had increased to a great extent. After this, all four of them start leaving the office, but then the boss of that boy asks him to bring the keys of the office from his cabin. So as soon as that boy reaches his boss's cabin, there is a dead body of the employee lying there. So seeing this, the boy starts shouting, due to which the girl also reaches there, and is very surprised to see that when the employee is dead, then who is that with them? So he gets scared and runs away from here with his two employees. And he sends both his employees to his cabin and asks them to bring the keys of the office. Now as soon as they go to Karan's cabin, Karan's dead body is also lying there. They start thinking that when Karan hanged himself, he might have died in real. So now both of them get scared and start running away from here, and then they come to know that the dead body they have seen is not actually their real dead body, but both of them are in their statues. That is, their boss has again played a joke on them. After this, all four of them start going down in the lifts. Here Karan tells his employees that he had a lot of fun scaring you today, but both of them do not answer anything he says. And then he gets a call from his watchman, and he tells him that two of his employees have fallen down the stairs and died. In fact, at the time when they saw Karen's dead body and were scared and ran down, they fell from the stairs and died at that very moment. This means that what was with him in the lift were not his employees, but their souls. So T and Karen understand that now they too are not going to survive. And then the wire of the lift breaks, due to which the lift starts going down and they both get killed too. And the movie ends with this scene. Friends, comment your favorite story, like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in another video.